all good things must come to an end. But for some, the beginning is just around the corner. The NFL training camp season is just coming to us soon. Soon. So we have five NFL training camp invites from UFL Today for players who we feel who are the most deserving.
Yeah.
Daniel?
A lot of guys are deserving. We have a show top 5 that we're looking at, and go ahead, Dopp, start us off.
I'm going to start us off on defense, if you guys don't mind, because we're going to be very offensive heavy with this list. But Kai Nacua, dude, Skubie, you know this about safeties. One of the things that Kai has done well, even though it doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, he's always around the football. This is one of those things that you see about a guy with grit. He gets in there, he makes dirty plays, he makes tackles. Like, this is the thing about Kai. He doesn't always show up, like I said, in the box score, but he's always around the ball, and that's what you're looking for, a guy.
Exactly. And the thing about playing the safety position, you don't have to be the quickest guy. You don't have to be the fastest guy. It's all about putting yourself in the right position because you're already back there at the start of the play. And Kai Nacua has shown how high his football IQ is. I don't know. Maybe it runs in the family because he's got a brother in the NFL that might be dropping some hints to him. But Kai Nacua is a guy that I expect to get a training camp invite because the guy is just a football player. There are certain people who are athletes, and there's certain people who are football players, and he falls in that
football guy. Huge pass deflection on the game, or it was the game-winning drive. But on third down, Adrian Martinez's pass deflected by this man right here. Let's go to number 4. Where are we going with this one, Skubie?
We're going to go with Hakeem Butler at number 4 at the wide receiver position.
Friend of the show?
A friend of the show for sure. We got a couple friends of the show on this list that you're going to see in a minute, but Hakeem Butler spent some time with the Steelers. But I always say one thing about certain players like him, Dopp. What can't you teach?
Size, Skubie.
You cannot teach size. One thing that he needed to be taught when he was let go from the Steelers is to be able to catch the ball a little bit better. They're worried about his hands coming out of college, but Hakeem Butler has gone and shown that he's got hands that are rated E for everyone. What does he have this season? 45 catches, 652 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Hakeem Butler, a guy I think that can get a training camp invite as well, Dopp.
Absolutely. Leads the UFL in receiving yards, like you said, and second in touchdowns. It helps when you're so big to be able to catch passes in the painted area.
Daniel, number 3, to you.
Number 3, I'm going to go special teams. I'm doing defense and now special teams.
Okay.
Jake Bates, guys.
Big surprise. But number 3 from Dopp?
You want to know why? He's kicked 3 60-yard field goals. Scooby, how many times has that happened in the NFL?
Never.
Never! Never has a kicker kicked 3 60-yard field goals in a season. By the way, there's only 10 games in the UFL season, so what Jake Bates has done is unreal. By the way, we do a lot of comparisons talking about Jake Bates and the Detroit Lions because of Ford Field. I say it all the time, too. In case you want to know, Detroit Lions only have 3 games outdoors this year.
Wow.
14 games are either indoors or at Ford Field, where he has been crushing it so far this year. If you want to talk about one season where Jake Bates should be on the Lions, this is the year that it should happen. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, if you're the Lions, you better get on the phone and call this guy, because we had Jake Bates on our show last week.
We did.
We asked him about the difference between kicking at Ford Field and kicking on natural grass, and he explained to us how different it is being able to make a field goal. Obviously, being more difficult outside, which is why we've seen him struggle a little bit more away from Ford Field. But at number 2, Joe, you know who I'm going to go with? Jontre Kirklin. I brought up Hakeem Butler, who had spent time with the Steelers. Kirklin spent time with the Saints. But the thing about Kirklin that I love about him is he continues to develop as a wide receiver. Coming out of LSU, he was a quarterback, right? Didn't get that much time playing wide receiver, and that's because he had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson ahead of him. So obviously, you're going to be in the back of that depth chart. But he was still a great athlete.
Yeah, he was.
Still developed as a wide receiver. And last week, yesterday, 120 yards receiving. He's been able to make big play after big play. The Saints, they seem to like him. I expect him to get another training camp invite.
He absolutely should get another invite. And again, when you have guys that can just do damage regardless of where they're at on the field, whether it's a trick play with his arm, whether it's being able to utilize all of his skill set with his legs, Jontre Kirklin has absolutely balled out in the UFL and has shown that he deserves a chance.
And you know, one thing about Kirklin, that the reason why I love to see him develop the way that he is because he needed more time to develop as a pass catcher, develop as a receiver. Only 1 year at the wide receiver position. So this dude hasn't even played 4 full years as a wide receiver, and he's already a dynamic professional receiver.
Took over that game yesterday.
Unreal.
Yeah, exactly.
The most deserving spot of an NFL training camp invite this summer goes to who?
Guys, I'm going to skip over A.J. McCarron. Can we just say that, like, he's been in the NFL? I think he was released from a team so he could play.
Yeah, the Bengals. He asked to be released from the Bengals so he could be a part of this because, you know, something special in St. Louis.
Absolutely. So I think we got to go with the guy we just talked to. Adrian Martinez
Giddy up,
leads
baby.
the UFL in rushing, second in the UFL in passing yards. Dude is doing everything to be able to will his team to a championship. I don't know if it gets any better than Adrian Martinez in the UFL when you see all the things that this guy can do with his game.
Yeah, being able to be in a professional system the way that he has, and we've seen him have to kind of deal with that dual quarterback system with him and Matt Corral, but Adrian Martinez said it in the interview with us earlier in the show. He's been able to get better year after year after year. What that says to me is that he has a ceiling. He is coachable. He has potential. There are certain guys who are capped at a certain ceiling, but with Martinez, just being able to talk to him and hear his mindset, I'm confident that this guy can continue to develop as a pass thrower and as a runner.
I'm totally with you on that. I loved it, even when I said it. Us fantasy guys love dual threat quarterbacks. The NFL also loves dual threat quarterbacks, guys that can just make plays.
Yeah, that's what the game's turned into.
It is what we have turned into. These are just 5 guys that we want to make training camp rosters. How many guys out of last year did you say made training camp rosters?
111 players were invited last year from USFL to XFL, and then they ended the season with about 30 plus on an NFL roster. I don't know if the number will get up there this year, but it goes to show that there is talent and guys will get invited.
So much talent here in the UFL. These are 5 guys that we like. We wish so many people could be up here, unfortunately. I'll tell you what, though, in order to have a little bit more fun, let's look back through the 10 best plays of the UFL season so far.